internet program, www.sxmtalk.com. Of course, I'm your host, Christopher Emmanuel, and well, we have a very interesting, power-hitting, powerful show for you tonight because the island seems to be in chaos. A ruckus erupt in Parliament today. There was the how should I call it, the call for early elections march today. That turned out to be another surprising element. At one time, the whole island seems to be just crazy right now. So call a friend, call someone, and tell them to log on to www.sxmtalk.com because their favorite online internet program starts right now. And I posted up on Facebook again, no end to the agreed part 2, the MPs. Because as you go along, you start to piece things together and you start to see, the volume and the depth of the greedy attitude of these individuals that we're going to talk about tonight, because it seems to be growing and growing and ballooning out of control. How their gut just seems to be hollow with an amount of space for them to pack and pack and pack all their wants on the inside. But let's get to the meeting that had to go down today. On the agenda point where it was the removal of the President of Parliament, Rudolph Samuel, by the majority of 8. And we had the meeting started, and the President of Parliament went on to read a number of articles and the rules of order and who has the rights here and who has the right there. And the President of Parliament continued to speak, and he spoke over and over and over. And at one point he said, I am the President of Parliament. I am the President of Parliament. And he said, I am seeking advice on certain issues to see whether it was done correctly. And this advice hasn't come as yet. And because the advice hasn't reached as yet, I'm going to suspend and adjourn this meeting until Monday. Well, my goodness, I'm sorry we don't have the audio here for you to listen to it. But if you go on www.stmartinparliament.org, you can see the whole event that transpired today. It was a madhouse. It was crazy. Jules James got a William Allen, you and the Mexican standoff. You're holding a Mexican. It was crazy. Everybody was screaming. Romain Laville seems to be coming out. And the rules of order. And all of a sudden, he's a bright kid. He knows the rules of order and all kind of stuff like that. And this is what I'm talking about. If the governor and the prime minister of this country so care about this country, they would see what they are causing. Really and truly, it is a standoff. And let me explain the standoff. In the Council of Ministers, now, I can go in my constitution, I can pull up articles, I can read who has the rights here, who has the rights there, what number is this and what number is that. In the Council of Ministers, a majority of 5 ministers is requesting the dissolution of Parliament, to disband Parliament for early elections. A majority. But the Constitution says that is the call of the Prime Minister. With a majority of 4, Parliament can be dissolved and the Prime Minister have to sign off. So here we have the Prime Minister, Sarah Westcott Williams, who does not have a majority in the executive branch, in government, in the Council of Ministers. She does not have a majority. She don't have a majority. So the majority of ministers have sent a motion, is requesting that Parliament be dissolved. But the Prime Minister, a majority of 1, a 2-seat party, is refusing to dissolve Parliament. Now, over in Parliament, you have a majority of 8. The majority of 8 is sending the ministers home. The President of Parliament is part of the faction where the majority of ministers are to be sent home. But the rules of order states that the President of Parliament have certain privileges, rights as President of Parliament. He don't have to give you the floor to speak. Just like how the Prime Minister don't have to put the motion on the agenda point for discussion to be voted on. She don't have to put it. The President of Parliament don't have to give you the right. So here you have a conflict. And this is where I disagree or show the difference and the nature of hypocrisy between myself, Edwin James, and Edwin Gums, and others. He is saying in a parliamentary system, the Parliament has the right, once you have the majority, to send the ministers home. And he is correct. He is correct. But when you further read the Constitution, and it states that the majority of the Council of Ministers can send and dissolve Parliament, he is saying that's a technicality. And I'm saying to Mr. Gums, no, it's not a technicality. So I'm asking the question, which supersedes which? The rules of order or the Constitution? And I was told by an expert, the Constitution supersedes the rules of order. But the rules of order trumps because the Constitution refers you back to the rules of order. And in the rules of order, the Prime Minister is to make the call. And also the rules of order, the Chairman of Parliament is to make the call. But they don't want to agree with the Chairman of Parliament, but the ministers must agree with the Prime Minister. And this is the reason why I am saying it is chaotic, it is upside down, it is madness, thus the reason early elections should be scheduled. But I want to go a bit further. I want to go a bit further and explain the people of St. Martin something. Now, and I hope my boy Maurice Lake is watching, because I'm going to say this to you, Maurice Lake, take me to court for it. And let me see who got the biggest balls. Since you decided to write in an article, you could have taken me to court, but you didn't. Take me to court for it. You know why? Let me explain to you why. Sxmtalk is a production that we have put together. It don't belongs to no one. It belongs to us. This is the internet. This is the internet. This is not a radio station. It's not a newspaper. After 10-10-10, you had 5 commissioners that was appointed, 5 commissioners that was appointed for 5 days. To work for 5 days. Maurice Lake, Josiane Fleming, Roy Marlin, Michael Ferrier, I can't remember the other one. They were appointed as commissioners for 5 days. And they collected and received a salary for a whole year. So, man, people, I need you guys to understand this. They received and collected a salary for a whole year. They didn't donate it to no charity. They kept it. They kept the salary for a whole year for 5 days' work, which they didn't work. Now, I want to show you guys another reason why new elections should be called. You had the minister, Maria Boncampa Molanas, that was sent home because she had a vote of no confidence pending against her. But by her being sent home, she have to be paid for 2 years. Then you had the incoming ministers, Theo Heiliger, the Prime Minister, Frankie Myers, Rhoda Arundel, Hiri Shigimoto. They were being paid, then they were sent home. They are being paid for 2 years. They are still being paid. Then you had the incoming new ministers, William Allen, Tuitt, Silveria. We are sending them home. They will have to be paid for 2 years. Then you have the new ministers coming in. They will have to be paid until 2014 election time. I am asking myself how we can sit back as a country and allow and expect this to happen. All this means is that taxes will be increased. Your baby milk, the Capri Sun, and all the juices and all the nice goodies that you have to send to school with your children will increase to fat up the salaries of these individuals. Thus, the reason why we are calling for early elections, so that this can be stopped. Now, I want to get into this discussion of the greediness, right? But before we go there, again, it is troubling to me when I hear no cohesiveness, no professionalism. That's the reason why these guys dropped the government. But look at the hypocrites that they are. And they're not only hypocrites now, they are nasty pirate hypocrites. You can't find words to describe them. You're talking about people like Roy Marlin. And for some reason, all of them got an R in it. Roy, Leroy, and Romain. No professionalism. No cohesiveness. But we have a prime minister who will be going into her third government, her third cabinet. Is that professionalism? Is that cohesiveness? So how is it that the 5 other members are not professional, they are not cohesive, but Cornelius de Weaver, Sarah Westcott Williams, they are professional, okay, and they have cohesiveness. St. Martin people, let me tell you, they are red skin and mulattoes. That's the reason why. Okay? And you have Roy and DP, a 2-seat party. 2 seats. Sending home ministers of a party that accumulated 7 seats. But it's all good. It's democracy. I am not angry. As a matter of fact, I like it because people are bawling and screaming and saying all sorts of things. What this have done, it has opened the eyes now of individuals, of political parties. Why? Because never again would any political party going into a coalition give the prime ministership to the political party with the least seats. They will never do it again. So by doing that, they have changed the game. They have changed the game of coalition, negotiation, and politicking talks, which is a good thing. That is what democracy is all about. That is what our government makeup is all about. Because now we're going to get a change. Because no longer a party that has 5 seats and the other one has 3, that 3-seat party would never ever get the prime ministership again. So the dynamics has changed, which is a good thing. Now, I am not going to revel and take pride in it because I don't like the Dutch. I don't recognize the monarchy. Like I said, I am a Republican. I don't recognize the monarchy. So I don't atone to what the Dutch has to say. The Dutch got to come in. The Dutch supervision. That is not my concern. My concern is what the people of St. Martin has to say. But you had Bossman saying, we have to look and question the integrity of the prime minister. We don't need Bossman to tell us what we must do with our prime minister. But the integrity of our prime minister comes to play. So if we look and listen to this government that threw down the coalition for not being professional and not being cohesive, what about the integrity of the prime minister? What about the integrity of the prime minister? So we see the lopsidedness and the favoritism and the hypocritical ways. Now, I listened to a radio program today when they said it was all fine and well. It was a party, it was a fun fair when National Alliance was getting in. No, Dr. Anders Leopold James, who made those comments, that is absolutely not true. There wasn't no fanfare. There wasn't no happiness. Okay? And if the UP didn't request and call for early elections, that is their prerogative for not doing it. So don't compare us with them because we choose to call it. We are calling for early elections because this new coalition government is the same government that we had in the beginning. It didn't work then, so it wouldn't work now. The people now needs to call. You don't want new elections. That is your problem if you don't want new elections. I'll tell you something though, Dr. Anders Leopold James. I have the ultimate respect for you. I have the ultimate respect for you. But in 1990, you were a forerunner. You were a forerunner when you had the big protest and the blockage of the road of the truck drivers because of injustice, what was being done to local St. Martiners. Well, a grave injustice is being done now to the people of St. Martin. And this is the reason why, if the governor doesn't find and see it fit that the island is in crisis, I would view that government as illegitimate. And it's illegitimate in my opinion because they have gone against the wishes and the voices of the people of St. Martin who put them there. So there will be an illegitimate government. The prime minister will be illegitimate. And by virtue of that governor not doing your due diligence, but just viewing the laws and appeasing the Dutch, you, in my eyes, have been viewed as illegitimate. Now, let's get to the agreed. And these are the things people need to see, read through the line and understand. The young MP Romain Laville is talking about the ultimate sacrifice he's making, which means he's given up his parliamentary seat to become a minister and Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs. That's the ministry he wants to get. But when you read the newspapers today, the newspaper is saying Tempo wants to be the exclusive promotion for St. Martin in the US. And they are requesting $600,000. So you understand why now he wants to be Minister of Tourism, because Temple is requesting this money from the Ministry of Tourism. So I'm saying, St. Martin, we cannot allow this to happen. We can't stay on the sideline and affect change. We have sat down and allowed a $40 million bridge to be built in St. Martin, built in our lagoon, that goes nowhere. But we have children that goes to school hungry in this country. For crying out loud. These people are pirates and greedy mongrels. I'm trying to get a picture of Roy Marlin, Leroy DeWeaver, and Romain Laville. I'm trying to get that picture. These guys, you should never ever elect them. Never ever elect them. Not even to a garbage truck board in St. Martin. These three individuals, don't you ever elect them to a street vending board in this country. Not even a school board. They shouldn't even be on a pencil case board. And I mean, these are the individuals that are causing the bad destruction and sentiment in St. Martin. Not because things are going wrong. They haven't outlined what went wrong with the government or with the coalition. What they are saying, no professionalism, no cohesiveness. That's the reason why we don't have a government. But only from the National Alliance side and Romeo Pantoflet and the Independent, there was no professional. But Prime Minister Sarah Westcott Williams is professional. Cornelius the Weaver is professional. But all the other ministers, they are not professional. So I want to ask, I really and truly want to ask, Romaine Laville, Leroy the Weaver, and Roy Marlin, Sylveria Jacobs, weren't she professional? Didn't she have some cohesiveness? Because if she wasn't, why the hell, in God's name, did you guys ask her to stay on as a minister? So then your example is the most ridiculous, asinine reason that you can give a country. It is blatant that you have no love, no concern for this country. Leroy the Weaver just care about getting land and selling. It's all about greed and what they can get. That's all it is. They are on their last drawdown. And listen, I have a brilliant program coming for you guys. The Justice Part2. That's the name of it. How you would see the crooked ingrindness of the Prime Minister. How she's involved in the Justice Park. Yes, St. Martin. And I'm saying to myself, Governor Honorable Eugene Holloway, look through all these corrupt things. And you want to allow these individuals to be in government for another 16 months? Goodness gracious, they're going to suck the marrow out of St. Martin bone. They're going to scrape the kong from the pot. Even the metal and all they're going to scrape out. They're going to bleed blood from a rock. Because they know they're on their last draw. They know they're on their last draw. Now, the Prime Minister is talking that, oh, the schools. Let me calm down. The schools shouldn't be having no petition there for the parents to come and sign. And the schools this. Prime Minister, shut your mouth. Only now you're concerned about the schools when to your high level be giving out pencil cases in the schools. How come we didn't hear that you shouldn't be giving out pencil cases in the schools as a politician? But a signature drive by the people, you want to muzzle democracy. Get real, Prime Minister. Get real. Get real. This is what is going on in St. Martin, people. Tempo is requesting $600,000 from the Ministry of Tourism, and Romaine is eager to be the Minister of Tourism. So it's the deals. That's all it is. I am asking the question to St. Martin people. What has Romaine Laville done for St. Martin as a member of Parliament, as a legislator, since he been there? The 135,000 guilders for the soccer garden boys, how much did they really and truly get? How much did they get? Where did the money go? I don't want to talk about your deals you get up at the harbor. I don't want, because Joe's a cool fellow. Your father, I don't want to bring in your parents. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to stoop so low. Okay? But Romaine Laville, shame, and shame on you, brother. Shame on you. And then I listened to your arrogance today, and I shook my head, because you're the same fella that told me. We stood up in Parliament, in the hang, in the walkway, and you express your disgust about Tia Heiliger and their family. How one person is asking for $70 million, and look how much money these guys are making. You said it. You're the one saying this is the reason why you took away the license plate, who have been making the money from it. You spoke horribly about them. But truly, politics makes strange bedfellows. And the thing about it, I want to find something that could make me say, no, there's an ulterior motive and something is up with this boy. Because we went to school together. But I just got to shake my head. And again, I'm going to refrain from getting into the birth of your geographical position dominate. No. That's not an issue. That's not an issue. But St. Martin, truly and truly, we're going to have dark days in this country if we allow this band of bandits and pirates to finish, plunder, and pillage this little island. Trust you me, there's a serious issue going on down at the airport. They say Mexicans are taking over. There's a serious issue happening down at Maho. Only Jamaicans are taking over the hotel. They don't have no work permits. They don't have no residence permits. But they are working. When we have a number of young individuals in this country seeking employment, serious things is happening in this country. But again, we had the march today. And I took part in the march. If I have to grade, yeah, that's me there with that shrewd face, that face of anger and dissent and concern. Why? Because again, our people had an opportunity to come out, and the crowd was reasonable as best. And I was a bit disappointed, but then after all, at the government building, I think it ballooned into about 200 to 300 people, give or take. And that was not enough. And St. Martin, we need St. Martin, we have a band of thieves. DP focus, up focus, Laville focus. So let us focus on early elections. And that's what it is. We are asking for early elections. Laville, Roy Marlin, and Leroy DeWeaver, they are pirates. And their sole and only goal now is to plunder and pillage the coffers and the chest that you guys call taxes in this country. So, man, people, take care of yourself. God bless each and every one of you guys. Monday, God's spare, we'll be back. And I'm working on that program. Okay? The Justice Park scandal. The Justice Park. Goodbye.
There was a time when people dare not utter a word. There was a time when people were in the dark and searching for accurate information. Just when all hope is lost and frustration hangs in the balance, Sxmtalk emerges and broke the silence. Join host Christopher Emmanuel for live and serious discussions and hard talk.